This is an after-school program podcast.
Welcome to the Home Studio Hangout podcast, where we explore what it's like building, running, and working out of a home studio with your hosts, Joshua Matotek, Andrew Simmons, and many guests in different areas of the music industry.
Welcome back to the Home Studio Hangout podcast. Today we have a good dude that I kind of known you for of you for a minute. We have a bunch of mutuals.
Yeah.
But we have Lee Rouse in the house.
Thank you. Here we go. Lee Rouse in the house.
Lee Rouse in the house. Let's do this thing. Dude, we have so many mutuals just in the Atlanta area. I don't think we've ever spoken outside of the internet.
No, we haven't, and it's weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
Yeah, it's like I'm finally meeting somebody that I feel like I've known for a long time.
But also sort of on the internet still.
Exactly. But also on the internet still.
Yeah, no, I've been meaning to hit you up and try to go get coffee or something one day, because Ian always talks really highly about you, and I would love to honestly just hang out. Are you in Atlanta right now?
No, so I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, but I'm not that far away. And I know you're in North Georgia, right? You just moved.
I'm in the actual Atlanta area. I'm in the perimeter. I live in Snellville, but my studio's in Tucker.
Okay, got you. Mm-hmm. So I know Ian just moved up to Jefferson, but I'm in that area so often, it's not even that big of a drive for me. Dude,
yeah, well, next time you're here.
Yeah.
Side note. Let's grab lunch or something.
Yeah, let's freaking do it. But yeah, I like Ian and Carter. I saw Carter was at your spot the other day.
Oh, yeah. We've been working with my buddy Justin, trying to kind of develop him as a little bit of an artist thing. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly been really sick. I love working with Carter. He's a genius.
Dude, right? He just comes up with some super unique, almost the minimalist pop stuff that he does is so clean. That new Chapel stuff is wild.
I agree. I love it. I love I feel like it's cool because when me and him write together, we get really creative in we're not cool with just settling for that lyric is okay. It's no, let's actually make it every part something to remember, and let's actually make this section make sense as a progressive part from this section, and let's do something kind of, I don't know if the word's right, but shticky a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what
hooky.
I mean? Where it's, kind of hooky, but also not afraid to just say something kind of stupid, even though it's honestly cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not afraid to put yourself out there and meme yourself up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think we wrote a hook not to the first song we wrote. We were the song's the end of it, it's just I'm trying to remember. It's okay, yeah, right, that's right, or something like that. And it's just what? Does that make sense? But it does make sense.
In the context, it makes sense. I'm sure. Just outside of it, you're just yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, for sure. If you read it, you're just what?
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Well, a lot of our listeners may not know you. They may know you. You've done some pretty dope stuff.
Sort of, kind of.
Let's start by kind of giving an overview of you, dude. So where are you from? Let's start with this. Let's start with who are you and what do you do now?
Okay, so I'm Lee. I right now currently I kind of I am Teddy Swim's in-house producer. That's my main gig. I do all of his anything really if he's here. You know what I mean? There's a lot of times where he leaves and he goes and writes with the biggest producers in the world, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of things that we still have to do here. I do all his stripped down versions of his songs, and I did all of his covers up until the point to where he got signed, and then I still did a couple of those. But and I still do like originals too. I actually have like one original on that EP that just came out.
Sick, dude.
But
I know.
Yeah.
I immediately, he was like, we need to figure out questions for Lee. So I went through the entire track list on Spotify and looked at the credits to see if you were on a song on the last release. And then I saw who wrote it, and I was like, oh, okay. So that's absurd.
MBD.
Yeah, that one was crazy, honestly, because it's like, I mean, Ian Kirkpatrick wrote on the song, which is like insane. So, I really, to be honest, like I only maybe had like an hour to 3 hour like conversation with him, and it was kind of a thing where like Jayton had went to his studio already, and Jayton had kind of already written that song like 4 years ago, like the verses, and he brought it to Ian, and I'm trying to remember who the other guy was. I don't remember his name, but he's like a top line writer. And they like, yeah. They like semi-produced the song, but literally it was just Jayton playing guitar, and he can't even really play guitar, so it was just him like thumping like the low note. Yeah. And it was the whole song, and then I took it and literally just turned it into what it was, like the whole like cinematic kind of like. He had this cover that was really popular, that Rivers cover. There was this like weird New Zealand group 660, and I like turned it into this like crazy Lion King thing, because the original is literally just like a bass line with the vocal. Like that's what the 660 song was, and I was just like, this is kind of lame, so I like don't want to do this.
Let's do that but better.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know why, but like I'm here at Lion King, bro. Like, and then I kind of turned it into like that big like organic like timpanis and like congas and stuff like that. And I was like, you need something like that that's your own. So I kind of wound up turning that into that song. But yeah, that's like the overall thing of what I do most of the time. But I also work with other artists. I develop other artists here. I do a lot of mixing work. I don't really do any mastering work, but I do like a lot of post-production, a lot of just like I engineer a lot of stuff. Like we have a live room here now, and I engineered like some songs for that artist Kivo Money not too long ago. You know, just kind of like whatever comes along, I kind of do. And it's also like every genre, which is cool, because like just like you guys, like I came from rock and metal. Like I didn't start like doing hip hop or like pop or anything. Like I literally started doing metal because I thought it sounded sick. So I just wanted to know how to do that.
Yeah,
dude. No. We all just wanted to learn how to record our guitar, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it just turns into all this.
And then we realized that guitars are the worst to mix.
Dude, right? Guitars are always the hardest part. Like I'm a big drum guy. Like I am obsessed with drums. I think drums are so sick. I can barely play them, but I think they're so sick. I love drum sounds. Like that's honestly what got me into this, is like just hearing explosive drum sounds and being like, I want to know how to do that.
Yeah. So kind of let's go back then. So that's kind of what you do. What kind of got you into music? That's probably a good transition into what kind of got you into the music thing, and then production stuff as well.
Well, I think like what my mom raised me like with my grandparents, and my mom was like always kind of like the young mom, like super, she like loved like Motley Crue and like Metallica and like all that kind of stuff, and she like had no problem jamming it in the car with me every night on the way home, you know what I mean? So I always like got into like, I thought it was cool, you know, like I grew up listening to that, and then like Matchbox 20 and like all that kind of stuff. I always had like a heart for music, but I didn't really like play that much when I was younger. I didn't actually start playing anything until I guess like middle school. I played saxophone, and I played saxophone like all through middle school and high school. And then I picked up guitar when I was in like 10th grade, and I still kind of like play guitar. I kind of suck, but you know, it's one of those things where I'm like honestly, like with Teddy, like his band, I'm surrounded by like amazing players all the time, and I could like pick up an instrument and try to play it, and I just feel like I like suck. So
that's like the best feeling though, whenever you're the worst one in the room.
For sure. That's how
you know you're doing something right.
Yeah, it's cool. You know, I know that I have my strong suit here, and they have their strong suit with the instrument, and like that's how it works. So I'm cool with it.
And it's really rare, like, ever seeing people who are great at both.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I know a single producer who's, like, also really, really good at an instrument. And that kind of makes me feel a bit better because I used to be really good at guitar, and now I can really play a guitar.
For sure.
Just because
I definitely think there's a truth to that, like, master of one, but, like, you can kind of, or, like, just you can do a lot of things, or you can be really good at one thing. Like, I think there's just like there's only so much bandwidth in the human brain to be able to be like great at one thing, you know?
No, for sure. And then so like the start of your production stuff with Goldman?
That wasn't the start. That that was like a weird thing how that wound up happening.
Okay, yeah. I just know you were there. Because that's how Ian knows you.
Yeah, so I just taught myself how to do everything. I basically, to backtrack a little bit, I after I graduated in 2009, high school, I went to college at Georgia Southern, and I just was gonna go for a business degree. I had like gotten a MacBook and I like started messing with GarageBand because I thought it was cool, but my mom wound up getting really sick. She has like multiple sclerosis. And I came back home, also like kind of ran out of money, and that was like another factor, but I came back home and I just like dove into just figuring out how to like be good at this, you know, like I got Logic and I was just like, I'm going to figure this out right now. So I just taught myself how to do everything. I just started meeting people locally, and I was like recording bands, but like barely charging them anything because I was like, I suck. Like I don't deserve to be paid. But that kind of just snowballed into me like meeting other people that were like, you know, better artists around the local area, like who actually just wound up being like some of my best friends. And then there was a group, my buddy Josh Landry, he had been working with this group that he had for like a really long time, and they had been going to like all these crazy producers. Like I think they went to like, do you know Brad Schlosser? He was like a local Atlanta guy.
I think that name sounds really familiar.
He was in like Athens for a while.
Okay, yeah. They
had worked with him a lot, and then wound up like, you know, we were doing demos all the time at my mom's house, and then we went and worked with we took those demos to Andreas Magnuson, the guy that did like Oh Sleeper and stuff. And then like that kind of was a thing. And then after that, we wound up going to Drew Folk. And
when he was in North Carolina?
Yeah, Drew and Kyle. Yeah. So Drew is the person that kind of really got me into like realizing that I could actually kind of do this myself, because he would like trust me to like engineer all the guitars and like trust me to like do a lot of things that like I was like, oh, that's cool, you know what I mean? And I always really he's also the person that got me on Cubase. Like I don't think I'll ever leave Cubase because of him.
Yeah, I think Kyle is still on Cubase too.
Yeah, Kyle, he either is or he's still on, or he switches back and forth between that and Pro Tools.
Yeah, I met him randomly at a show in Charlotte one day. He was in town doing something. Yeah, nice dude.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah,
he's really cool. But yeah, that artist, that group that worked with Drew ultimately wound up getting them signed to Roadrunner, and then I wound up kind of having a big hand in like all of the stuff that they did too. And when they got signed to Roadrunner, they went to LA to do the record, and then Josh wanted to do drums with Goldman at Glow in the Dark. So me and him went to Goldman's, and Goldman was like, hey, I have like all these rooms at the studio. You should totally work out of here. So I wound up working out of there, and that turned into me like helping him with all kinds of stuff. I was never technically like his intern or like
no, you were kind of like what Nate is, which is just like he's just there.
Yeah, for sure. I was there.
You're just a part of the package.
Yeah. I actually like wound up living there for like a year.
Did you and Tito live together?
No.
Or was that after?
I was before Tito.
Okay, you were
there.
before Tito. Okay.
Yeah. So my buddy Luke, who's like my manager and Teddy's manager, moved out here from LA And he wound up living in that one room that was upstairs, like on the other side of the living room.
Yeah.
And I lived in the weird little room right at the top of the stairs that was like shaped like a weird little rectangle. Yeah. And then that's how that happened. And it was weird. Goldman kept saying he was going to sell the place like over and over and over again. So eventually we just left. Did it. Yeah. It took a long time, and then we just left.
You were there at a pretty cool time too. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of cool records coming through that spot.
I think I came in right when Loathe was there with Matt McClellan.
The first time, yeah.
Yeah, which was cool. Those dudes are really sick. And then I think we did I got to assist on like that Third Eye Blind like pre-pro thing that Goldman did. There was something. Oh yeah, the Justin Bieber's band, like Styx Taylor and Harv and Jewel and all them.
Yeah,
they came.
They did a record.
Yeah, that was really cool too. Like, it's crazy too because working with them was so weird at the time because I was like just super into metal and I thought Justin Bieber was like super lame.
But dude, those guys can shred.
Dude, they're crazy. It's wild.
They're so wild. And a lot of them are into metal too, like really into metal.
For sure. Jules is really into metal.
Yeah.
He thinks that stuff's cool. And I don't know, at the time I was just like, this is lame. But like looking back, I was like, wow, like, that was actually really cool.
Yeah. Now you're like, man, I kind of wish I could do it again just so I could appreciate it. Like,
and not be such a dummy. Like I feel like every 6 months I feel like I like look back at myself and I was like, wow, you were dumb. Like you suck.
I feel that resonates with me.
Yeah, dude, I feel that heavy. So after you dipped at a Goldman spot, where'd you go then?
That was like a weird time in like my production, like music life, because I like my friend Aaron Marsh has an underwear company that I started working for.
From Copeland?
No, not that Aaron Marsh.
Not that Aaron Marsh?
The other one.
Okay, the other Aaron Marsh.
The graphic designer, videographer Aaron Marsh.
Gotcha.
He had that underwear company with the drummer of Asking Alexandria, which was Hamaros or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was working for that, and we wound up getting a house like out in Monroe, just working on that. I still had the studio, and I was still like working with other projects, like other artists, but basically like just the Vault 51 guys after that wound up not working out, like doing something different. Mm-hmm. But then ultimately that wound up with my friend Luke moved back to LA and he got a job at this company that kind of like did events and like screen printing and like pop-up shops.
Okay.
And then I got the opportunity to move out there and I wound up working for that company for like 8 months. Turned out to be a total waste of my time. It was really weird. I wound up living in his apartment. He had like a 2-bedroom apartment and his sister lived there. And it was cool, but I lived in the living room next to the kitchen in like a curtain room with a mattress on the floor for like 8 months. So,
oh, shoot.
Yeah, it was kind of bad. I was like kind of bummed out. But then I wound up coming back home. And I moved back into that house in Monroe. And Aaron let me, set up a little studio type situation in the living room of that house. And then I just hit it hard. And I was just like, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do this. And it was funny because that's when Jayton had just moved to his dad's house in Monroe. Mm-hmm. So we were hanging out all the time. Like every day we were hanging out before anything had happened, like any of this stuff. He would just come over and chill. I actually had like gotten him into like Michael Bond's band at the time because they came to me to produce that Wild Heart stuff.
Wild Heart group? Yeah.
Yeah. So they had like one guy that was like kind of okay singer, some guy from Canada. I can't remember his name. Mm-hmm. But I was like, dude, you got to hear this one guy sing, man. Like, cause I had known Jayton for like a long time. Like I recorded he was in a band with like my buddy forever ago. And like,
yeah, Ian tells me stories of Jayton of being like, he was like, we were all just Johnny Craig wannabes. Yeah. And and then he was like, that's how Jayton learned how to sing.
For sure. He would openly
that's how
say
everybody learned how to sing.
For sure.
Like, for real, it's either you wanted to be like Craig Owens or you wanted to be like Johnny Craig. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah, exactly. And he will even openly say he was just like, I love Johnny Craig. And it's funny because Johnny Craig actually hit him up a couple like a year ago and trying to be all buddy, and I was like, don't do it.
Yeah,
don't do it.
Let's not do that. Don't go down that road.
Don't do it.
I don't care how good the discounts are on the MacBooks. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
There's only one. Yeah. No. So I moved back into that house. I did the Wild Heart thing. A whole bunch of weird stuff happened with that because I did like tracks for Issues. I did their tour backtracks, and people didn't like that. I guess there's like some weird super beef there that I just like don't really want to get into.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
I promised them I wouldn't talk about it anymore. So,
perfectly fair.
Anymore.
But so that happened, and then me and Jayton were just like, dude. I actually came to Jayton. I was like, dude, I found the stems for Rock With You on this sketchy file sharing website, and we should just delete the vocals and have you do the vocals and do a video with Aaron and see what happens. And that was the first cover video, and we just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I remember because I'm involved with a lot of the Atlanta scene people, and it's like I remember the Wild Heart thing happening, and I remember going, man, this is really cool. Like, this could legit go places. And then I saw Jayton putting out the covers, and I was like, yeah, I think this might be better. And I think this is probably going to do better. And then like immediately it did.
It was weird.
Wild.
There was a big thing where, like, I don't know, I can't really talk about it, but
that's
certain
fine.
people wanted to be the guy, and they just didn't really have the ability to be the guy.
Yeah,
because Jayton should be the guy, and then that kind of made people a little butthurt, and then it just didn't work out. And then Tyler Carter asked my buddy Addy to go on tour with him, and Addy was like, "I'm not going unless Jayton comes." So
yeah, and I remember that happening too.
And there was
solo
this thing.
tour.
Yeah, there was a thing where like the guys thought that he had asked Jayton to come specifically, and it was like, nah, Addy was just like, I'm just not gonna go unless Jayton comes. So we went, and then that just turned into this like whole thing, and it just like went down the toilet, which is fine. Honestly, super glad it did.
Yeah, better for it, man.
Yep.
Better for it. Yeah. I mean, he got signed to Warner, right?
Yeah, he's on Warner Music.
Yeah, so which is wild because I think up until that point, it was mainly covers.
It was all covers.
All covers. He got signed off of essentially having a bunch of songs written but not released.
Yeah,
and we got signed off of released covers.
There's a really funny story too. So we were doing all the covers, whatever. I had actually he had written this song over a YouTube beat. The top line was just like really great, but the beat was like the instrumental was so wrong. Like it was just like not the vibe. So I took it and reproduced it, and it turned into this song "Stranger." And I actually sent it to Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lane, don't you, Josh?
Yeah. I hung out with him once whenever he was at Clear Track.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that ended, and then I ended up back in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
but, he's a really good dude.
Yeah, he is. So I had actually just he FaceTimed me randomly one day, and he was like with this guy. He calls himself Bassy Blue. I don't know. Some dude, he wrote a guitar part on a Justin Bieber track or something at one point. But I sent the song to Lane, and he was at Clear Track, and he jammed it, and he was like, he lost his mind. He was like, this is crazy. And he brought Blue in there, and Blue listened to it, and then Blue got all hype about it. So me and Jayton just took 2 weeks and wrote as many originals as we could. And at the time, it was a bunch of weird hip hoppy stuff. It wasn't really the vibe, but there was a couple songs in there that were cool, you know?
Because you went to that more neo soul pop.
Yeah.
sound directly after that, really.
Right. So like Picky was the closest song to that vibe.
Okay.
Out of
I
all
could
of
see
them.
I could see that being over a hip hop beat if you stripped it back a little more. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that one just was what it was, you know, because Jayton was already in the band with like all of the guys that are here now that play that kind of music. So we kind of just wrote that one the way it was. But he got signed essentially off of, the only original we had put out was Night Off, and that one's pretty hip hoppy.
Yeah.
But he basically just got signed off having a crazy presence on YouTube with the covers.
Dude, yeah.
How did that happen? Like, did somebody reach out to him, or was like he actively like trying to meet people, or like? That's crazy. Like, just getting hit up out of the blue and being like, "Hey, we want to sign you because of YouTube."
It was like, I can attribute most of the deal stuff to like our manager Luke. He used to work for Hello Kitty. Like, he was like a marketing director for Sanrio. So he's tight. Like, he just knows how to like talk to people. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like that's something that I really lack in like this whole thing, is just being like very like super business minded and like not like a sociopath, but just like knowing how to tell people what I need to tell them to get what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just really good at that. And so that's why I had like brought him in when all this stuff was happening with like Blue or whatever. I was like, yo, you need to just come here and you need to handle this, because I know that he would be the only person I knew out of everyone on the planet that would be able to handle it. So he did. He came here. You know, we started doing everything a bit more like scheduled. Like he just kind of got everything like into place so that we could be able to like make the YouTube and everything actually grow to the point to where we would get attention. So once that happened, it was not too long. Like, we all got a house together, and that just turned into like, it was like a compound. There's like all of Jayton's friends and all of our friends just all came together. Everyone quit what they were doing, and we just turned it into a group. You know what I mean? Like we were like a whole team of like 18 people. So there's like me doing all the audio production stuff, and then Luke doing all the managing stuff, all the coordinating stuff, Jayton being Jayton, and then like his whole band, plus our friend Doran, who does like front of house, and he knows how to build and fix literally anything. My old roommate Aaron did all the cover videos for the longest time, and all the artwork. He still does all the artwork and all the branding and stuff. Jayton's friend Joel came in. He also does video work. We had our friend David come in doing photos. So everyone's just here all the time doing this. And at the time, like, nobody's getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, no one's making money. We're just doing it. I'm like living off of like money that I made from a project last year. Like, trying my, like, I actually made a check on a project like for Sanrio in like 2019. And I'm just like living off of it, like barely. But like, I knew when it was going to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I didn't have
stretching that money, dude.
I didn't have time to like do other projects or like take on other things. And if I did, it was like I felt like I was like hindering what I was doing. It's like, oh, cool, I can make like a few $100 or whatever. But it's like, is it like, I don't know. So I'm just stretching money, you know? And there was actually a lot of labels that were really interested in Jayton. I think like Rock Nation and Atlantic.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me, honestly. Like, his numbers went from 0 to literally billions in almost instantly. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was just his vibe, dude. Like, he just doesn't look like how he sounds. And honestly, I think we picked the right songs.
You did.
At the right time to show off exactly what we needed to show off.
And it helps that at least in my mind, you guys came in doing what you were doing at a time of neo soul being in pop music again, at the perfect time.
Yeah, exactly.
Dua Lipa becoming like doing the whole neo soul thing with her last record. Like a bunch of other people are doing the exact same thing. Charlie Puth obviously doing like very similar things. So
and it's weird too, because like I didn't. This is weird. Before I moved to LA, I literally did not listen to pop music. I didn't listen to hip hop. I didn't listen to anything. I moved to LA and I wasn't actually working on music anymore, but I was exposed to way more music. And I just kind of started listening to a lot more stuff. Like specifically, the one album that changed my entire outlook on like all of that stuff was Mac Miller's Swimming.
Dude.
Like,
Yes, dude. Yes, let's go.
You don't understand. Josh is like the biggest Mac Miller fan because he's the one person from Pittsburgh that Josh loves also.
Dude, I had no respect for that guy until I heard that record and I was like, oh, my whole life just got changed.
He's
like,
a musical genius. He's up there with Kurt Cobain. All right?
For sure.
He gets it. He just gets it. Whatever it is, he gets it.
Yeah, dude. And it was so sad because I was like so into that record. And then like literally he died like right after it like came out. And I was just like, dude, what? Like, what? Like, are you serious right now? Like, no way. And
you
then
want to know something funny? It wasn't until recent that I was actually able to listen to his music again. That's how hurt I was. Because that was like a huge part of like coming up in this area is like, you know, like that's the dude, like him and Wiz, like they made it. They made it out of this hellhole, you know? And it's just like, you know, like, yeah, dude, like he's just so inspiring. Even from like whenever he was really messed up on like Lean and stuff, like he was still putting out some of the best art that I've ever heard.
Dude, it's crazy. Like going back and listening to his stuff now, it's just like, dude, how did I miss this?
Dude, I've had a ton of unreleased stuff I could send your way if you want to listen to it.
Please. I would love that.
I pulled out all the sketchy exe files, so if you're on Windows, you want
sick.
Yeah, don't worry, I got you.
Dude, yeah, but straight up, dude, like that record changed my life to a point to where I could like understand and accept and like kind of not be such a like jaded person. Like I don't know about y'all, but like I feel like a lot of people that listen to like rock and metal are just like jaded. Like if that's the only thing you listen to, like you honestly just like don't like.
They don't know how to have fun, man.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude, like I don't know, I just can't. I don't know, I can't do it.
It's so funny that you said that though, because watching movies was like the first not metal record that I got into.
Really?
Yeah, and then it just kind of like progressed from there because of him. I found out about Earl and Tyler.
Yeah,
and
dude.
Like I really kind of like I never liked hip hop or pop because it was so surface level at the time, and I thought whatever I was listening to was super profound, even though it was just like
really the same thing regurgitated over and over again.
Precisely, exactly. And so I you know, I kind of developed this really like pretty high level of respect for hip hop at this point because I'm listening to these guys who really care. Vince Staples was another one.
Dude, yeah.
And then from there, like Maddie showed me the 1975, which kind of like started creeping in like the pop inspiration. And then like now like all I do is listen to Internet Money.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. What a change.
Yeah.
They were trying to sign Jayton too, actually. Which
Internet Money did?
Yeah, Taz Taylor. That was funny.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I guess I really I can't say I didn't like. I liked Kendrick Lamar a lot.
Yeah,
like back in the day.
Kendrick's huge. But what's funny is all my friends loved him, but I was like, I guess I didn't like how his voice sounded. So I just never really like. I just remember saying, yeah, like he's good, but like I just don't really like him. And then he dropped Damn, and like that's the record,
dude.
That's
it's his.
The line.
It was his first one for me. I don't know why I like that was like. I just felt like hip hop at the time of his first record was just so like I can't really stand like Future and like stuff like that. Like
He dropped that record
hip-hop.
at the perfect time.
Yeah, it just felt real. And it's like, dude, like I can appreciate that if like hip hop if it feels real. You know what I mean? Like it feels like there's like something there versus like I got the lean and the perkies. Yeah, I don't care about that. And then on top of that,
he was able to like not only do something different, but like it's a concept record.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And like he's writing about this character that he came up with, and like he built this whole world. It reminds me of watching movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
it's crazy.
It very much has the same vibe where it's just like, wow, I'm in a different world while I listen to this record.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Another one was A$AP Rocky. I was really into him.
Oh yeah. I really liked the record. I don't remember which one it is. It's like I think it's it's got like a 2 in it. Or no, he has 2 records. He has like
Long Live and Long Last.
Yeah, the second one
like that. Yeah,
I like that.
One's good.
I like that Canal Street song.
Dude, Canal Street is so hard. That song was on repeat.
I like
in
the
high school.
Hustle.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. You also came up in Atlanta, so it's that whole trap vibe. You were just like, nah.
Yeah, and funny too, because like the first studio that I like, so I was like, this is a long time ago, like 2012. The first studio that I ever like had a job at was this studio in Fayetteville, out of all places, like really random.
Yeah.
But it was where all of Brick Squad came every single night and recorded all of their like just whatever, like mixtapes, whatnot. So I was like, I worked there for like 6 months. It was really weird because like, you know, I had like Waka Flocka and like Gucci Mane and then like Southside in the back making beats on this giant computer. And like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. It's weird that I went from doing rock and metal to like doing that because I was like, I just want to know what it's like to work in a studio. You know what I mean? Because I just been in my bedroom forever. Like, I wanted to see if it was like worth it. Kind of.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
You learn a lot, though.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely did. I learned a lot about, like, at least, like, how to work with certain kinds of artists, like, how to talk with them. And honestly, like, the head engineer there was, like, he just, like, did some wacky-ass stuff. Like, just really wacky on, like, plug-in. He would, like, use Waves GTR effects on everything. Like the little stomp boxes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That was just his thing. He just loved Waves GTR effects. And it just like super strange stuff that I was just like, I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But one day I was like there, I turned around and like there had been like a death threat against Waka or something. And like I turned around, there was just like 12 dudes in there and like a bunch of guns on the table. And I was just like, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home. I don't want this anymore.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah. That was fun.
So let's talk. Let's do gear talk. That'd be fun.
Oh, yeah, that sounds good. I like that.
Let's do gear talk. So
I like nerd talk.
You just built out the new spot.
Yeah. It was this place. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was beforehand. I don't remember. It was like this super weird. I think they did like commercial voiceovers here, like back in the early 2000s.
It's an ASMR studio.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. You could tell where the desk was like back in this corner, like over here. It was a corner desk.
Okay.
That door didn't exist. It was just like laid out super funky, dude. Like our B room was like a little sound stage where like I guess they had a green screen and like a little platform. It was super weird. We tore all of that out. Got rid of all of it. This room we like repositioned doors because the vocal booth thing kind of existed, but we like built we didn't build it out completely, but we heavily modified it.
It looked like the drum room took the most.
Yeah, that
work.
took the most time because it was actually so it was just a room with like drop ceiling and but it had like these weird little fake walls that like there was like this much space between the top of the wall and the ceiling. There was like 3 of those. It was like cubicle type stuff.
See, I'm telling you, that's what my spot was like.
Yeah, it was super
I'm not crazy.
weird.
That's actually a thing that people do.
It was odd, dude. Like, I don't know. There was like old telephone lines running in everywhere and stuff, but we ripped all that out. We ripped the ceiling out. We raised the roof of the live room up to like 12 feet. And
Nice.
Goldman actually came in, and I don't know if I can show y'all, but he came in, and you see that weird angle?
Oh yeah.
He told me you should make that wall angled, so it was straight at one point, and then we angled it. So
I will say, dude, Goldman and drum rooms.
Oh, genius!
He's an absolute.
Yeah.
I don't even understand it.
Total genius. He's so smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wound up moving that, and yeah, the live room definitely took the longest. This room probably took a minute. And, you know, we put new floors and everything because like here up at the front we have like a lobby and like a little conference room thing, and Luke has an office. A couple people have offices, and then there's a B room and like a C room that's like a writing room thing.
Gotcha.
And then behind that wall that's shaped funny is just like a giant warehouse with merch and touring gear.
Dope. Hey, that's a pretty good little setup.
Yeah, it's cool.
Tight.
It works perfect for us. And you know, if hopefully if things start to progress further than where they are, maybe eventually we'll need something bigger, but like I can't really. It's that back there is huge. Like,
yeah,
the space actually is the exact same size as Glow in the Dark was.
Oh shoot!
But the actual studio space is kind of like, my live room is essentially kind of like where Goldman's control room was.
Okay. Shoot, yeah, that's,
you know what I mean?
Huge space.
So everything back, like if you think about like Glow in the Dark, like the live room, all of that is warehouse space.
That'll be really cool when live stuff becomes more regular and you guys set up like a live stage to test lighting and
That's
audio.
The plan.
And
that's the plan. Yeah.
That's such a good thing to have.
That's definitely the plan.
Dude, like good places are hard to find depending on where you're at too. Like, you know, you have a lot of bands who like have to go to a place like NYC or Nashville or LA just so they could like rehearse their live show for a week before they go on tour. And it's like it'd be kind of nice to have that figured out in advance.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
like more than
exactly.
a week.
Yeah, it's great too because like, you know, we still like for like all the like live stream things we've done, we've kind of gone to a sound stage to practice. Just because, you know, we haven't really considered, I guess, like how we're gonna treat that area.
Oh yeah,
like acoustically.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, like I mean, you could put like curtains up, but it's really not gonna fix it. You know, like it's a big open space. So I think there's a lot that has to happen with figuring out how to treat that acoustically in order to be able to like do things like that out there. Because even just like people playing drums in the live room resonates throughout the whole building, and it's, you know, between like a bunch of doors and like the roof is insulated and stuff. So
Daggum. Yeah, that's but that is super sick. What you got on your desk?
I have the interface is an Apollo X8P.
Nice.
And then I have the X16 too, like daisy chained with it. And when I got those, they actually sent me a satellite because I bought them, I guess. So I have a satellite too. I have this super weird old school PreSonus, like Digimax ADAT preamp that I use sometimes. And then I have a BAE 1073 that I use for the main vocal chain.
Heck yeah.
And then I have the Black Lion 1073 quad. It's like really cheap comparatively, but it sounds cool. The only thing I hate is like the knobs are like plastic and they kind of suck.
Yeah.
And then I have the Black Lion API quad too. There's an Avalon U5. I bought that SSL Fusion like processor thing. I like it a lot, but I also kind of hate it.
That's for the 2-bus thing, right?
Yeah, it just adds a lot of noise to my tracks. Is the only thing I don't like. Like the drive sounds really cool. Honestly, the high frequency compressor is like so sick. It's just a de-esser. I keep telling myself it's literally just a de-esser, but it's so sick. But it just adds hiss to everything I do, and then I have people be like, why is there so much hiss at the beginning of the track? It's like, dude, I don't know. I can't get rid of it. I don't know what to tell you. I guess I can like RX it or something.
We're using ancient technologies, bro. Just come on.
Yeah. It's going through analog gear, bro.
You think Frank Sinatra said that? Like,
and as far as like outboard like effects or whatever, I have a Serpent Splice Mark II, which is like an 1176. But it's black and blue mode, so you can change the input and output transformers from black mode to blue mode.
That's so sick.
It's cool. It's like my favorite 1176.
So you could go in black and out blue?
Yeah, or
if
vice
you wanted
versa.
To? Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah. I always honestly keep it on blue. I like blue a whole lot.
A little brighter.
Yeah, and I use it mostly like my vocal chain like all the time is just the 1176, and I have a Teletronics 2A, and I just hit those. That's just what it is. I have a CL1B too, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't like it, so I'm trying to get rid of it.
Do you think it's too clean?
I don't think it's too clean. I think it's just like it's so slow. Like, it's so slow to the point to where I get these giant spikes if I'm not, like, if I compress any more than like 3 dB, I get giant spikes at the beginning of my vocals. And I hate that. Like,
that sucks.
I don't like that at all. Like,
that's the one thing I really like about the retro is it's really clean, but then if you drive it a bit more, it has a lovely saturation to it. That
I like those. I like those a lot.
Like, I was having issues running a Heritage 1073 because the saturation on it kind of gets gross, like real gravelly up in like the 2 to 5K region.
Yeah.
So like, I fixed that with a different preamp, and then I was using the Slate Dragon because that was a mix knob, and that even like it gets really dirty really quick, and I just wasn't a fan. So the retro is sick because it could be really clean. It'll start saturating whenever you push it to kind of compress it more.
Right.
And then if you just all you do is you just put it on the slowest setting it has. And it's so friggin' slow that it never does that peaking thing.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I don't know.
I hate tracking with like fast or medium fast compressors because like I don't like the peaks. I want it to just be like calm. I want it to be like QC. Like,
yeah, for sure. I don't know what it is about this. Like every time, like if I use the CL1B, I'm basically using it like all the way fast because it just lets so much of that initial transient through that I just can't do it. Like I hear about people like compressing like 7 to 10 dB with it, and I'm like, how do you do that? Like, how does that even work? Like, I don't understand. I maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I just don't get it.
What I hear a lot of people say though is that the CL1B is so popular because it can be fairly transparent and fairly safe, and that way they aren't committing as much. And that makes sense because it's like if you're using a C800 like on a hip hop vocal, like that's the sound of that chain.
Right.
Like
I think I would be terrified to run a C800 into this because I feel like it already makes. We have a 251, and I feel like that's a pretty bright microphone already.
Me and Josh were both looking at those.
Way brighter. Yeah, it makes it so much brighter that I just like can't. I would hate to run a C800 because that's even way brighter than the 251.
Yeah, and it just seems like a lot of people are like, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like a compressor, and I'm like, yeah, it's just a $4,000 compressor.
Yeah.
Really seem like it does a lot, but I'm definitely sold on the retro because at first I was like, oh, I hate it. I feel like I'm making some country western music because it's just like peaking and distorting, and I'm just like And then once I like sat down and actually took 20 minutes to figure out how to use the thing, like then I was like, okay, this is actually really sweet.
Yeah, I think Drew used to have one of those, and I got a bunch of vocals that he did through the retro, and honestly they sound really great. I'm trying to remember why we even got the CL1B, to be honest. I don't know. I can't remember. There was a point to where, like, when quarantine happened, the label wanted us to be able to do as much as we could at the studio at as high of a quality as we could. So the label helped us get a few things, which turned into, like, these compressors and that microphone. So that was honestly, like, the only way this even happened with this stuff. I would have just been totally fine with a plug-in at the end of the day. I loved my Townsend L22, the Sphere mic. I love that thing. Even still, like, most of the time, if I'm recording something out there, I use the Townsend. We have 2 of them, and it just, like, it does whatever I want. And I like the 251 a lot, but mostly the reason I like that more is because I can just hit it with the one preamp, go through the compressor chain. Like the Townsend, you have to do stereo, and it's kind of a pain.
Yeah, that's how I felt about this Slate mic. Like, I'm not a huge fan of this JZ, but like I'm figuring it out. But like I hated always having to run VMR because it's like I kind of like the UA stuff a little bit better than VMR. So like, why can't I just run that? And now like my entire chain is just committed on the way in.
For sure.
Like, I feel like I'm a big time producer now. I'm like, yes, no plugins. It sounds great. Like,
totally. That's kind of that. I had the Slate mic too, in like 2018, and I was doing a record on it, and then I remember like 2 months later, I like went back to punch in a vocal, and for some reason everything was just way brighter, and I was like, what is going on? Like, why is this just so much brighter? I haven't changed anything. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just like deal with it with EQ or whatever. And then I went to go do another record, and it just completely just died.
Yeah,
like,
I'm on my second one.
Rumbling, and I was just like, dude, come on. So my buddy had a Sphere, and he brought it over, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna get the Sphere because it integrates with the Apollo. I can literally run the plugin in the console, and it's like, dude, that's just like so much easier for me, like way easier.
Yeah.
How much are you doing? Are you sending anything out for out of the box work, or are you printing everything on the way in?
When I track vocals, I print my compression all the time. I don't I always, literally every time I track vocals, it's going from the 251 to the 1073 to the Serpent to the 2A, then straight to the Apollo. And I run the Serpent like we're talking like 1176, so all the way fast release, almost like 3 o'clock attack, and I'm letting it get like 3 dB on like the really pokey stuff, like if someone decides to get get rid of those loud plosive things, and then I let the LA2A kind of run like a windshield wiper, and it just does what I want.
And everything mix wise is in the box.
Yeah, aside from the
2-bus thing.
Yeah, and beyond that, like it's not really like doing that much stuff. It's just like an EQ and some saturation and a de-esser. Yeah. But yeah, like most of the time it's all completely in the box. I don't really like, I don't know, I've never really thought about like working outside of it like that.
Yeah, that kind of seems like where everybody's at right now. Like as far as like hybrid studios go, and like it's like that's all I want to do. You know, I just want a preamp, a compressor, and a good microphone, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even thinking about like Recall with just this SSL thing, it sucks. Like I can't tell you how many times I make a simple tweak, and then I think about it like 3 days later, and I'm just like, uh-oh.
Yeah. I hope they don't need a new bounce.
Baines has like this whole like system where it like I can't remember if he like scans it or if it's like a mock-up of gear, and then you could set your settings to it and then throw it in your project folder.
Oh, dude, I need to do that for sure.
Yeah, because I'll figure out what it is and I'll send it your way.
I have it
because he does all the Young Thug stuff, and so he uses a ton of outboard gear, and he also uses a ton of UAD stuff. So he has to like commit everything before like he sends anything out. Like it's like a logistical nightmare whenever you're working with a bunch of analog gear. So like he just has like photos and photos and photos of like everything, so he could just recall it.
I was about to say I have an enormous amount of photos of just my SSL Fusion in different states on my phone.
Yeah, right.
I have to look at the date and be like, oh, okay, that's for that project. And like,
well, wait, but like, what if I was just doing revisions for that other project?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, dude. Like, I mean, most of the time, it usually lives in the same general spot, to be fair. But like, it's so like just a little bit of gain on something else can just change everything with it because it's like really wide on the EQ.
And it's the whole mix, so it's just affecting everything pretty drastically.
For sure. Like as soon as I like sent something off last week, and then somebody's like, "Hey, I'd like to get revisions or whatever," and then I like load it up and reprint it, and they're just like, "Hey, why is it like I didn't ask you to like make it darker?" And it's like, "Oh, whoops.
Sorry, my bad."
You need to just like have like 2 ways to set it, and like that's what you commit to.
Yeah,
that way, if you get it wrong, you just do the other one, and then it's right.
One thing I actually had to do not too long ago, because that "Will It Find Me" song on the EP, and I did the "Bed on Fire" strip version. The guy that mixed it, John Castelli.
Oh, Castelli mixed it.
Yeah,
let's go,
dude.
We're big fans of his.
Dude, yeah, he's great. But getting files to him, I felt like so stupid. Like I've never felt so stupid in my entire life. Like just sending tracks to somebody to mix.
Because you've always done it your way so much.
Well, yeah, it's like, okay, so like here's all the tracks. They're dry. Here you go. Make it sound cool. Do your thing. You know what I mean? Because that's how it's always been for me. You know what I mean? Like people send me a bunch of stuff that's basically like sort of there, not really, and then I put it together and it's like, oh, cool. That's my mix. But he really just wants it to literally be your mix.
Yeah, so that's something that blew my mind coming from metal. all of these bigger pop engineers or mixers, they literally want a production mix. Like they want the producer to give their interpretation of it. Yes. Because like that's what the artist has been listening to. Right. And then they're able to kind of tweak it from there. And like that makes sense, but that also like makes you worried. It's like, well, what if I'm like, compressing his vocal too much? Like, he's gonna hate it.
They're also assuming that you're knowing what you're doing and being a really good producer.
Right.
Yeah.
There's also the thing too with like, I don't work in Pro Tools. And like I feel like a lot of people they're like, send the Pro Tools session. And then they have all the plugins that you might possibly have. And if they don't have it, they make a ton of money. So they'll buy the plugin and they're just like, okay, cool. For me in Cubase, sending that off was like hard. Dude, I went back and forth with his assistant for like a week trying to figure out like why I was so dumb and like why I could not figure this out. But it wound up being a thing where they literally just wanted me to print everything through my entire master chain, like limiter and everything, and send it to him. And I was just like, dude, that is so weird. Like,
well, it's funny. That's what they do at the gift shop. Anytime that they send out a revision, they also have to print every single stem through the entire rig. Because like John, he mixes with like 16 channels of Hazel Rig VLC ones behind him, which are like a preamp channel strip kind of thing. And like with like Pultec style EQs on them.
Right.
And he just has them all set up a certain way. And so he's like, okay, well, this needs that. So he'll just send it there. But then he has to print everything through it, every single revision. So that's like normal for them. They do that like 3 times a day.
Yeah, and see, for me, it was just like, dude, like, are you sure you really want to have like it hit my limiter and like all that stuff? Like, is that how you want it?
They want all of it.
Bro, we come from a world of flexibility with the metal side of things, and like that stresses me out.
Dude, yeah.
I've been getting better with it. I committed a vocal last night. I committed an entire vocal last night, okay? Like, I am growing so much. I feel like I'm about to, like, go sign up for, like, a 30-day, like, CrossFit challenge today. That's how good I feel about the commitment that I made last night.
I love that.
It's absurd that they're like, yeah, we want your master in there, too. And it's like, hey, man, do you not understand that, like, I have no clue how to master a song?
Yeah, like, are you, like, really sure you want that? But, like, the problem that I ran into with that fusion with the noise thing was that now not only is everything going through at once, now there's like
the noise is getting stacked on top of each other
like 45 times. So I literally wound up taking it and running it into Q-Clone and making a Q-Clone preset of exactly what the fusion is doing and just putting it in place of the fusion.
What is Q-Clone?
That's smart.
Q-Clone is a Waves plugin where you can basically it sends a signal out and you put whatever in between the signal that you're trying to steal what it's doing. So like it's basically sending a sine wave sweep from like 0 to however high, and then it knows what it's getting back. So you put Q-Clone on something and say you just like put a Pultec on it, and then you put the Q Capture plugin after it. Whatever you do on the Pultec will get captured into the Capture plugin, and it'll show you exactly what it's doing, like frequency wise. So I basically ran it in. So I just stole the entire curve of everything that this was doing and made it just an EQ preset.
Yeah. And like that's another thing. Like, so Castelli, he talks every week with Matt Rad on Tuesdays. On Instagram Live, and like he's like a really like particular dude, and so I could see how that could be really tough, because if that was me and it was being noisy, I would be like, yo, why don't you just like mix it without all that?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I can promise you the team isn't gonna care, but like in his experience, I'm sure there's been multiple people who are like, that doesn't sound the same. You know, like,
for sure, I totally get it. It was like kind of weird too, because like the Bed on Fire stripped or whatever, like it was a thing where he was like, well, we just like, his assistant was like, well, we just want to make sure that it's as close to like what Teddy's been listening to. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna be honest, Teddy hasn't listened to it. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
I literally just made this. Like,
yeah,
it's
he
the
turns
vocal
it,
stem.
he trusts you, man. He just turns it over to you and is like, all right, Lee, do your thing.
It's literally a piano, an organ, and then the bass part of the organ and a vocal. Like, I promise you're not gonna mess it up. Just make it sound cool. Like, I swear it's gonna be fine.
Yeah. Let's go in the box on some stuff then, dude. Talk about some gear. Because me and Josh have some fun things we've been exploring. What's your new favorite plugin?
New favorite plugin.
Because that Q-Clone thing is also really tight. Because I never even heard of that.
Oh yeah, dude, Q-Clone is sick. I don't know what my new favorite plugin is. I have this template that I've built over just like however long that just has everything in it. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched like Andrew Sheps mix anything.
Mm-hmm. I have on Mix with the Masters or something like that.
Dude, so I don't like really care too much to watch like the URM stuff and things like that, because it's like sometimes maybe if it's like a song that I heard and I'm like, yo, that's heavy, like, and they're like doing something, I'll be like, okay, like I'm kind of interested what this guy's doing here. But
I think it depends on the artist. And like, so like the Dayseeker one recently that Heinrich did, like I'm super interested on what those stems sounded like that Dan sent him, and also what he did, because those that album rips.
Yeah, I totally agree. But like, with that being said, I kind of really get into like watching like the giant dudes do their thing.
I
like,
just took the Lewis Bell course on monthly.
Yeah, I've started doing that too.
Dude, how about his template though?
Dude, yeah, it's crazy. I couldn't.
There's
like
so much. I couldn't keep track.
I feel like my computer would explode. I also like, I guess me personally, I'm not really one of those people that like just always has a go-to synth preset that I like. You know what I mean? I like, I'll know what I want, and then I wind up being the guy that's like sitting there searching through presets for like 15 minutes trying to find exactly what I want. And I'm like, oh, that's the one I want. I've never just thought of like saving like whole synth presets. It's like kind of wild to think about. But yeah, back to the plugin thing. I have this template that I've made off like watching a bunch of people do stuff, and it's kind of just like ridiculous. Like, it makes it easy though, so I can like literally drop anything into a blank template, and as long as I send everything to where it's supposed to go, I can pretty much press play, and it's like 80% there, which is kind of sick.
That's dope.
So it's like just a bunch of buses with a bunch of parallel stuff coming off of all those specific buses that winds up coming back into a mix bus and all that stuff. But Andrew Sheps does this rear bus technique, which is super weird. Like, if you just like put it on a mix while you were like on a finished mix, it would sound awful. But if you mix into it, it's really cool. Where it's like everything except your bass, or yeah, I guess except your bass, but like really everything except your drums goes in parallel to an 1176. Like really, like basically like all the way slow attack, all the way fast release. And then that is blended back into your 2-bus. So you basically want that 1176 to like duck just a little bit when the vocal hits. So it just moves everything else out of the way.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so subtle, but it does so much when you're not talking about like metal and stuff, like in like pop.
Brings that vocal a little more forward while keeping the instruments there, so it's not like too forward. But
right, because the instruments are still, no matter what, the output of that group is going to the 2-bus, but there's a send off of all of those going to the rear bus that's just getting pulled down just a little bit. So it's just like, it's almost like psychoacoustic, like in a sense, where it's like, oh, like the vocal never disappears, even though like that guitar lead came in and it felt like kind of loud, but it's not. You know what I mean? I'm really into like that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Also, I guess the coolest new plugin I got is that Gulfoss plugin.
Oh yeah, dude. I haven't gotten it yet. You like it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's subtle, but like what it does, like when you turn it off, you're just like, oh yeah, that needs to be on for sure.
Yeah.
That one's cool. And I love that flatline limiter. That's my favorite limiter I've ever used in my entire life.
Really?
That Ermin.
Yeah.
Made. Yeah, dude, that thing is so sick. It's the best limiter of all time.
That's super sick. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people really dig it. It's really clean.
Incredibly clean. And if you could just put it on like 32 times oversampling, which sometimes kills the computer, you actually hear the oversampling make it sound better. Like, like on like Pro L2 or whatever, you can turn the oversampling on. And you're just like, I guess that's doing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
This, you can actually hear it make it sound better. And it's just like, whoa.
That's the one thing I heard about Flatline is that like it's literally just a clipper. Like it does the same thing as free clip, but the oversampling is what makes it so much better.
For sure. It's great because my old master chain used to always be K clip into a Pro L2, and the Pro L2 would just like kind of be doing like a dB, and I would just gain the K clip into the Pro L2. But then I just got rid of both of them, and now I just use Flatline.
Heck yeah,
I just picked up Newfangled Elevate, and that's like witchcraft.
Oh yeah,
because like the multi-band for the limiting, that's crazy. Being able to like push an 808 into it or pull the 808 out, like it's just
that's
crazy.
Yeah,
so
dude.
We have two plugins that me and Josh have been like kind of geeking out over. So me and Josh are in this Facebook Messenger group with like a bunch of. We need to get you in there.
Yeah, throw me in it, bro. I'm always down.
It's I guess Josh, you'd probably have to talk to Seth about it, but it's Seth.
Seth Munthin. Yeah. He mastered Picky.
Oh, dope! I didn't know that.
Oh, that's tight.
That's tight. Yeah. So Seth's in there. Moshe is in there. A couple other people are in there. So the Nani plugin is ridiculous.
The Nani plugin?
Yeah.
What is that?
We'll have to send it to you.
Okay. I'm sending it to him right now.
Yeah. It is absolutely the most. What's crazy? It's a distortion plugin, but just the UI is so stupid.
Oh, is that the one with the anime girl on it?
Yep.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah. So what's great is that there's a censoring option, so that way we can keep it safe for work in the studio.
Yeah. Exactly.
And on top of that, I like it better than Decapitator.
It sounds so good.
Yeah, dude, I was showing Matt,
That's
the owner of the
crazy.
studio, that plugin last night, and I was like, dude, you have to hear how good this sounds. And like, if you put it on the destructive EQ mode and use the mix knob and the filtering on an 808, bro,
it's crazy.
It is life-changing. It is the best distortion plugin for an 808.
Yeah.
I will never use anything different.
That one and Thermal, we've been on those two.
I've heard about Thermal, but I don't know what it is.
Thermal is Saturn if it was made by a bunch of people who are really into like action sports.
Oh, okay.
Like Saturn, they're like, yeah, I fancy a game of tennis. Meanwhile, Thermal's like, yeah, well, I think I'm gonna ride down this huge hill backwards and then do like a 360 no scope off the top of Rust on the way down. And then I'm gonna land on my head just to see if it feels cool.
That's sick.
Like that's how Thermal is.
It's super so tight. It also works really well on 808s if like the Nani plug-in it and kicking it.
Dude, you got that right. It's great on screaming vocals, but like I very rarely come by those nowadays.
Yeah, but like
same.
If you want a more aggressive rap vocal, it does really, because you can like really run it in parallel and pick that area.
Ooh.
And it does some really cool stuff saturating that like mid-range on like a rap vocal. Yeah, it's super tight.
What's really cool too is like, so in Saturn, you could like saturate an area and then use the dynamics to bring it down. So I'll saturate the top end and then I'll use the compressor in it to bring it down. And then you also get like a 3-band EQ with it to help further change it. Like I think it's a lot more customizable than Saturn. And then it also gets really heavy handed. There's a bunch of like timed and granular effects built into it too. So it's a great sound design plugin also. And then you can also use it to mix. So,
that's sick.
Yeah, it's nasty on kick drums.
I need to try that for sure.
You should. It's rent out on Splice right now.
I think it might be on sale. Memorial Day sale.
I hope so, because you deserve it.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, do it.
I love Saturn on like my kick and snare. That's like on everything. Like I always put Saturn on kick and snare. I've actually really, for 808s too, I really like that Black Box HM2 plugin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that.
I just got Spectre by Waves Factory, which is cool. It's like additive saturation.
Yeah,
EQ
I've
thing.
seen that. I've seen that one dude on YouTube with that talks like this. Review that.
Yeah, it's like between that, the ozone saturation, and thermal, like in Nani, I don't need anything else.
That's sick. Yeah, I definitely need to try those two for sure.
Yeah,
or three really.
And the other that we actually got from Castelli is the ozone spectral shaper, just on its own.
Huh? Like the spectral shaper. What is that one?
It's like if Soothe was made for stupid people.
Oh.
And it's like it's like a spectral
analyzer
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just it has literally 3 controls on it. Mm-hmm. You get to pick how much it does and the tone of it. And then
interesting.
How heavy-handed it is.
Okay.
And so it's great for de-essing. I use it a lot as a de-esser, but it sounds really good. Like, you know how you get that harsh like 2.5K in a lot of vocals?
Yeah.
You just pop that range right there and you start just pulling the fader down, and then you could choose if you want it to be darker or brighter, and it'll just perfectly tame that. And like I can't live without that plugin now. And it's so much more like it's so much more less of like a power soak than like Soothe.
Mm-hmm. I really like there's a ozone, the low end focus plugin.
Yes, I was just talking about that with Rob. That's been my sauce lately, because I tried it on a master and I was like, I really don't know what that does. It doesn't sound like it does a whole lot. And then Rob said the exact same thing. He was like, I had no clue what it was doing, and I got scared and I pulled it off my master. I was like, yeah, but load it up on an 808 and put the contrast the bottom way. And it literally takes all the sub frequencies that just do bad things to your limiter, and it just shifts them all up. It's witchcraft. It's like Isotope is literally. We had a joke in the group chat that Isotope must do blood sacrifices, because like between RX and Ozone, like it doesn't make sense how they're able to make plugins this good.
Dude, yeah, it's wild. I can't tell you how many, because we do a lot of like pre-recorded live things. Dude, I hate bleed in the vocal microphone so much. That's like the bane of my existence. And there's been only like a couple things that have actually like helped, and it's RX de-bleed. Like I can literally just take the overhead mic, or one thing that I started doing is just having the talkback mic for the MD and then just running that into the like source for the vocal mic to pull all the drums out of it. And it just helps so much, dude. Like so much. It's like the only thing, because everything else when we play is just DI'd. So the only thing I'm hearing is drums in the vocal mic, or
dude,
if there's a saxophone.
Make it so you can't like do a high boost on the vocal. Or like,
it's psh.
I
hate that so much.
Did I see that you mixed something for was it Kimmel?
No, that was I've done 2 late nights now, which is kind of crazy. One of them I didn't even know I was doing a late night. I just thought I was mixing. I did the Bet on Fire for Stephen Colbert, which was Teddy.
Yeah.
And then I mixed this song for Conway the Machine and Ludacris and JID.
That's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Jimmy
what was that
Fallon.
one for? Jimmy Fallon. That's what it was. Yeah.
That was crazy, dude. And honestly, like, not to toot my own horn, but I literally got the tracks. I dropped them in, and it was like 5 minutes, and I was like, okay. Like, it was easy though. It's literally just like 3 vocal tracks, and it's just like, all right, well,
sick.
Yeah, like sounds great. Let's go.
Dude, JID is so good.
Dude, he's crazy good.
Yeah, he did a lot of work on Swimming.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, him and Mac were friends. That voice in Swimming, the pitch or
like the filtered voice, or like the
I did not know that. That's so sick.
The filtered voice on Self-Care. At the beginning, that's him.
Yeah. Oh, what? That's so wild.
I think he's credited as a writer too. I don't know how much he did, but I know that they were hanging out.
Dude, yeah, he's crazy talented, and he's from like here too. He's like from
East Atlanta.
Yeah. He's isn't he a part of Dreamville or something like that?
Yeah, he's on Dreamville. Him is like him and Earth Gang, also East Atlanta, and they're both on Dreamville, but those three technically, and what's his name? Black, all come from like the same area.
Yep.
It's like the same street.
It's wild. They have like this crazy studio compound somewhere. God, what's it called? LVRN Studios. It's in like.
Oh yeah, Laverne Studio.
Yeah. It's a cool place. I like that spot.
I didn't know they had their own spot.
Well, while I didn't see JID on the credits for Self Care, I did see that ID Labs produced it. So I just wanted to make it known that it's sick that ID Labs is still doing work, and then we could go back to our normal conversation. I care so much.
That's sick.
Dude, I think we'll call it right here because we're hitting about an hour and a half ish.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
We'll have to have you back for a part 2 to talk more stuff. And
dude, yeah, whenever, man. I'm always down to talk. I don't really get to talk to like audio people that much, like about just like random stuff. Like if anything, when I'm talking to my friends, they're kind of just like, cool.
Yeah, no, nice. We're always down to chat, dude. Yeah, and I want to be respectful of your time and everything. So, dude, Lee, thanks so much for coming and talking and hanging out.
Absolutely.
And, yeah. And this will be dropping this week. So
sick. Awesome, man. Well, yeah, it was fun. It was a great time. And I honestly just love chatting. It was good to meet you through the internet once again. I know. And meet you, Josh, through the internet.
Yeah, for real. It's been fun.
So we'll say goodbye and then we'll keep talking for a minute.
Okay, that sounds good.
So thanks, listeners, for coming to hang out, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
And that's it for this episode of the Home Studio Hangout podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please check us out on your favorite podcasting platform. Leave a review. It helps the show so much. Kind of get out there for new people to find. If you want to watch this, if you aren't already, check us out on YouTube by searching Home Studio Hangout. And thank you so much again for giving us your time and your attention. And remember, keep on creating.